Good afternoon. Today I am going to show you how to hang a older Kawasaki or basically any kind of motorcycle as long as you got a couple anchor points from the ceiling of your garage or workshop. Now I've already put these anchor bolts in. I've had them in there for a while for different projects, but basically that's a 1/2 inch by 4 or 4.5 inch lag anchor. Basically I used the point where my garage door opener came out so I could see where the rafter stud was. Then I took a pin, pushed it in the right hand side, and then I pre-drilled the hole and I bored those up to the center so I know I'm in the middle of the stud. Did the same other thing on this side. I can get above my attic here or up above my garage. So basically I went up top, punched a couple little small holes down through the ceiling on the left and right hand side and made sure I'm in the middle. So you can do that a couple different ways, entirely up to you. If you can get up in there and support it better, you can run the lag all the way through and do like a top nut on top of it. You could put a beam across the two. You could support it any way you can. I've had things hanging on this before a lot heavier, so I'm sure mine's secure. But make sure your lags are secure in your ceiling before you try to hang anything from them. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my seat off. And I'm not gonna do this on the video probably, but if you have an H2, I'm sure you know how to get them off. If not, it's pretty simple. There's two little pins, one in the front, one in the back. Pull the cotter pin out, slide the pin out, and the seat comes off the bike. One other thing to mention on the hangers up top, basically the width of your motorcycle, you don't want the bike to hang straight up and down in most instances. So I've got them set up in a couple of different places of the garage depending on what I'm hanging from it. But you want to be outside of the bike by about 3 or 4 inches to the left and the right. That way your straps are coming in at an angle. You don't want them too steep, but you also don't want the bike hanging straight up and down because you'll get a lot of sway out of it. This is in the middle of my garage, so mine are more straight up and down here, so I'll get a little sway. What I'm going to do today is service the chain. So basically, if you're going to support it and you're going to do a lot of work on it, you want to make sure it's anchored really well. Now, the first time you do this, if you haven't already done something like this, basically where your anchors are on the ceiling, you need to make a line straight underneath where your anchor point's going to be. So in this case, on the H2, I'm going to hook in the frame here and in the frame here. So I've got mine lined up with my toolbox, so my hooks are in line with the right hand side of my toolbox. So basically when I get the bike ready to hang, I need these points here to be in line with my toolbox, or pretty close to it. It doesn't have to be exact because we're going to hang it, but it needs to be fairly close. So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure my bike is close to my center line. I'm actually forward of my center line, probably 6 or 8 inches. I'm going to hook my straps up in the ceiling and hook them to the part of my frame that I'm going to raise it with. When you're hooking it up, make sure you don't pinch any wires, any cables, any hoses, and watch your buckles don't come down and hit your paint job. So that side. With this side. And again, there's no weight on this yet, so basically I'm just going to lift this up to the point where my strap's not dangling down. And that way my buckles don't hit anything. So from a different angle you can see, basically I'm hanging there. It's tilted off to the side because my bike is leaned to the side. I don't have it exactly straight, but it's close enough to the center of my two hooks that when I stand the bike upright, the bike will stay straight. And again, I've hooked my frame itself. I've got good rubber coating on here. Make sure if you don't have good coating, you cover your paint so you don't tear your paint up. And make sure again you hook it where you're not going to catch any wires or anything like that when you lift it. So next thing is I've just got some wood here. It's left over from a house project. You could build a little ramp if you wanted. You could probably use a car ramp if you wanted. We don't have to get the super high off the ground, so basically I'm just gonna, like we're gonna put it on a vehicle or something. So I'm gonna make a little ramp, put it right up underneath the wheel. And again, I'm not worried about the back kicking up again because we're not gonna go on a truck. It's not gonna fall off of anything, and I'm gonna hold on to it good. And all I'm gonna do is roll it back 6 or 8 inches, just enough to get the back wheel up off the floor. And then we're gonna pull the straps tight, and then we're gonna kick the boards out from under it. Now again, I don't recommend doing this by yourself, but if you have no choice, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. I'm gonna stand the bike up, I'm gonna keep it level, I'm going to go ahead and pull this strap tight again since it came loose. Pull that one tight. And that way if I do lose a little bit of control of the bike, I'm not holding the entire weight of it up. It will go to one strap or the other and hold some of the weight off of it. I'm going to hold the brake. I'm going to roll it back on my board. Pull the brake. Roll it back. Once I get it up in the air, a little bit more, like so. Holding the brake. Switch hands. Pull my strap up. Pull this strap up. Make sure I'm level, tight as I can. Let go of the brake slow and easy. The bike's going to settle out. So the bike's now where it's going to be at. I'm going to make sure it's not going to tip, which it's not. I'm going to take the boards, slide them out from under. And after the boards are out, I've got a free spinning wheel now. Front's a little bit more difficult on the H2. There's not really any place to hook it. You could hook the bars. Personally, I don't like hooking the bars because if you hit the gauges, just too much stuff you can damage. If you watch some of the other videos, when I front hooked my this bike, I pulled the gas tank off and I actually hooked it up under the frame and pulled the front end up that way. But either way, that's how you actually hook it on the ceiling. Let me get done looping my chain up here and then I'll show you how to get it down off the ceiling. Alright, so the chain's looped up. You can adjust the chain whatever you need to do. Getting it back down to me is easy. You'll need less boards. I'm just going to take the one board I had. Again, bump it right underneath the tire. Same situation. I'm going to make sure I got control over the front end of it. The bike's not going to drop because I had pressure under it. It's going to drop a little bit, but it's not going to slam down. Make sure you don't have any gap underneath that side. When you do this, you want to squeeze your buckle slowly. You don't want to drop both sides at the same time. Make sure you got to hold the bike because if you let go of the buckle, if it does start to go over, the straps will still catch it and keep it from falling on you. You still have to maintain control though, don't just let it completely go. Same thing I did before, I'm going to lower the buckles down, but not to the point where they're off the bike yet. I'm going to roll it forward. Back down my kickstand. Finish loosening my strap. Take it off so the buckle doesn't hit. And there it is back down. I got to put my seat back on. Once I get that back on, I'll be ready to go again. Hope that helps everyone out. I know I've got a lot of problems because I've got no center stand. Or I got a center stand, but it doesn't work right. So until I get that fixed, I'm going to have to deal with that. Hope that helps somebody out. It took me a while to figure that out myself, as simple as it is by rolling up on a board and hooking it and kicking the boards out from under it. But as simple as it is, it definitely saves you a lot of time and effort. Again, just make sure you hold onto the brakes. Keep your straps as tight as you can without hurting yourself. And that way, if it does start to tip one way or the other, you've still got control over the bike. If you don't feel secure doing it, definitely don't try it by yourself. And whatever you do, make sure your anchors on your ceiling will hold the bike up.